Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Part-Time Artist Podcast. This is episode 199. 200 is right around the corner. Super stoked for that. It's going to be an awesome guest. I'm going back to my roots for 200. It's going to be great. And, but before that, we got a great episode today. You picked a great one, especially if you're a guy out there. This is definitely a guy talk, which I think we need more of. We need more guy talks because there's something weird going on with men these days. So we need to start peeking behind the curtain and start having some real conversations with men. But this is the Part-Time Artist Podcast. We are here learning how to be a better artist and figuring out what helps us stay creative, and great talk today with that. Before we jump into this conversation, I want to shed some light on some links that I have in the description. Of course, Camp Punxsylvania is right around the corner. Would love to see you there. It's in June. Check out that link. Pitch a tent and see one of the best DIY punk festivals ever, and hang out with yours truly while you're doing it. It's great lineup at Camp Punks this year. Awesome. But aside from that, there's a few links that I definitely want you to check out if you are like me and you are thinking about joining a gym. Now, I already did it. But I was like you, and I was thinking about it, and I wasn't sure about it. Let this moment be your moment to lift yourself off the fence and join Planet Fitness for just $1. Okay, this is exactly what I did. And start slow, maybe once every couple weeks, maybe once a month. I started with once a month. And now I am slowly trying to get into once a week, and hopefully my goal is twice a week. So take the plunge, start hitting the gym. It's just going to make you feel better, honestly. That's all I can say. My recovery is getting there. It was really hard at first to recover after never having a gym experience, but now I'm getting better at it. And honestly, that brings me to my next link, which is for the sauna box. This is what I've been using to help my recovery, and it's been awesome. I got the Sauna Box Go, the 2-person tent. I've been taking steams with my brother, my dad. It's a really awesome thing. It's totally detoxing. You'll have the deepest sleep of your life, dude. I'm telling you, you take a steam and maybe it's a full moon or something, you are going to be in dreamland. Man, your dreams are going to be so deep. You're going to have a really nice sleep. That's all I can say about the sauna box. It's just been giving me some really rock solid sleeps. And it's been great for my recovery for the gym. So check that out. And lastly, Visible, if you're looking for a new cell phone plan, I use Visible. It's really easy. It's really cheap. I think it's only like $20 a month. And I believe if you sign up, you get a free month. So definitely click that link and get yourself a new cell phone plan. It's definitely a great idea. That's kind of it. Aside from that, check out the links for our artists if you're watching on YouTube. Oh yeah, the best way to support the podcast is to subscribe on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, the links to the artists will be in the comments. If you're watching or listening anywhere else, Spotify or whatever, click the links in the description for our artists' website, Bandcamp, and Instagram. Way to follow them. All right, let's jump into this episode. All right, I have with me a very, very special guest. We're coming back again with another Philly artist. I love it. And joining us once more is David, aka The Taste of Vomit. David, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I had a a really good time last time, and I appreciate what you do. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, if you don't know, if you weren't here, David goes back to episode 169, which is about 30
Hey.
episodes ago. So it kind of feels like a long time ago, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. I don't know. I think it's because of how social media works. You know, it kind of feels like when you get updates from other people, it kind of feels like they're still around. But then it's just like, wait, I haven't really talked to this dude in forever.
Yeah. I think it was 2 years or a year and a half, year and a half to 2 years.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while. So David and aka The Taste of Vomit is coming off of a new record called Relocating Grains of Sand that came out 3 weeks ago now.
Probably close to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a full LP, y'all. This is 14 songs. We had a music video. We did a release show. How has it been so far? First month of release.
Really, really good. I feel like, yeah, I'm really proud of these songs. I had a blast making them. It's definitely a long time in the making. So yeah, it just feels good to be out, and people really been connecting with it, and yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's the most important thing. And now, before we jump into talking about this record and talking about you and your story here, I want to get maybe we can do a TLDR on just you as an artist. Is there just one tip, or just right off the bat, one piece of advice that we could learn from you or your story just right off the bat?
I feel like, at least for me, it took me a little while to get there, but to just trust what you want to do, even if you feel like you're a pigeon. I think that when I first started out, I felt like I had to be this thing. I feel like these people like this thing out of me, and I decided to go in a different direction. And at first, I did kind of lose a little bit of interest in stuff, but then over the years, it has come back tenfold. So I think just my advice or whatever would be just to trust in it and just do what is true to you, and it doesn't really matter, and you'll find your place. You'll find your audience. You'll find your people. You'll find your connections, and just being yourself, and find community in a more plentiful way by being you,
So, and the community part of that is also so incredible. I saw on the internet the other day, someone was like, what do you think is one thing that ruins society? And someone just said the idea of individualism. Because as human beings, we all survived through community. But for some reason, in the last 50, 60 years, it's been all about me and all about what I have going on. And social media is certainly not helping when it comes to showing off and comparison and this and that. I think also, to piggyback off of that, I think don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. I think changing yourself is underrated. I don't the seasons change, and you're talking about this in this record. You're talking about changes. You're talking about getting older. I think it's really underrated to keep reinventing yourself. You don't have to feel like, okay, I've marketed myself as this version of me. I have to stay true to this version. No, you're allowed to grow. You're allowed to even look back at other versions of yourself and be like, you know what? That wasn't my best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's true of some of the biggest artists. Think about whatever. I don't even know, the Beatles, Beyonce, name anybody. You know what I mean? It's just
Now, David, or TOV, Taste of Vomit. Something that I love about you, and it's really cool that you're coming on here as a guy, because it feels like in my circle and what I see in music and just in on the internet altogether, it just feels like there's a lack of men and male voices that are speaking in terms of like positivity and empowerment, because it's so easy for men to kind of look at that stuff and react negatively to it. You know, there's this, I feel like there's a lot of pushback. There's a lot of people that, that automatically their reaction to you trying to empower people is you're being preachy, right? And they're like, well, what do you know? You know, and I think there's a lot of guys that tend to challenge things that are nurturing. And I wanted to know where is your head at with, you know, speaking positively, and how do you walk that line between like trying to empower but then also trying not to be preachy, and how do you navigate any pushback that you may get?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that for me, like, it's more about I'm just trying to tell my story, and sometimes that's encouraging, and sometimes it can be, you know, sad and depressing, and the negative thoughts. And I like to present things as, like, you know, as they are. Like, I feel like life is such a, like, you know, it's like cliche, like the yin yang thing, but there really is like a lot of sadness in happiness. There's a lot of happiness in sadness. There's a lot of positivity in negativity, like, you know, and I try to represent things just as they are, true to me. And I'm trying to, like, this record I feel like is very hopeful and encouraging.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily on purpose. I think I was just feeling that way in the moments that I was writing it, and I was just trying to share my story of that. So I think where it comes in with being genuine and you know, and the pushback and stuff like that, I think for me it's just like being true to myself, you know what I mean? And if I'm sad in this moment, then I'm going to talk about being sad. If I'm feeling better, I'm going to talk about feeling better. If I'm going to, you know what I mean? So I'm never trying to be something that I'm not in that moment that I'm writing it, you know what I mean? So I think that's where the difference comes in. And I think, yeah, I think people can sense that, because I do say, like, you know, in the encouraging messages, it's also like, hey, like, listen, I'm also not perfect in this. Like,
Sure,
don't listen
yeah.
like, I'm not trying to be some kind of like role model necessarily. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just sharing my story, and if people can get something out of that, I think it's a really beautiful thing. But that's not my main goal, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to express myself and create interesting art is my more of my main goal.
Right.
Yeah.
You're keeping it real by balancing, you know, good and bad and negative and positive, and then I guess also at the same time try not to overthink it, because I think
Yeah.
that's when we can really start to, you know, screw ourselves over, where you're like, how are people going to interpret this,
Yeah.
you know? And once you start going down that road, then you're your
And I think
own
that's
worst
where
enemy.
the pushback comes in.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the pushback comes in, because people can feel that and sense that and know that you're trying to be this thing. And I think that's where the preachiness comes in, is more so that people can sense that you're trying to be this thing rather than just being this thing, you know?
I think also, if I had to talk about this record, I love how there's always like there's these heavy things, but then there's you like kind of poking fun at it a little bit, and also trying to not take it so seriously. You know, there's always these little lines that sneak up on you, and I there's a few that just stood out to me right away, and I wrote it down, and we'll talk about them in this episode. But one of them, this next song we're gonna hear, is called Learning. It's the 4th song on the track, and this was the first, or one of the first lines that I wrote down, because as soon as you said the line with I'm getting numb and number, And to me, I was like, oh, that is so good. That is just like right away, it just hooks you in, because it is like a serious thing. Like when you're numbing yourself, like you're like, that's like no joke. And then at the same time, you're taking the, you're putting the fun in it, which I thought is really cool. And I wanted to know, before we even listen to that song, is there a favorite line that you came up with where you're like, oh, this is witty, this is my favorite one? Because there's a bunch of like sneaky lines in there, or bars, as the kids say, right?
I think one that stands out to me in this moment is I have this song called "I'm a Little Afraid of Pursuing My Dreams," and in that, I'm talking a lot about like dealing with this idea of like, how scary it is starting to get a little bit more attention, and how this music, is not totally mine anymore. It also exists to this audience and things, and just dealing with, these ideas and being scared and whatever. But I had this, joke that, or pun, or whatever you want to call it, that was like talking about how like I'm having a hard time keeping up with the pressure of these things or whatever, and then followed by it's like, if I take the blue pill, I might avoid disappointment, and then talking about like the blue pill as it references the Matrix, as in like giving up, but also the pun of blue pill can't keep up, like, like an erection pill, like the pun of keep
I was thinking that, and I was like, I don't know if he's talking about that blue pill. Oh my god, dude, that is so funny, dude. I'm telling you. But it's like
a serious song, so like when you're hearing, and that song is pretty rapid fire, it's not like fast, but it's like consistent, so like you might not catch it real fast, you know what I mean, if you're not like thinking about the line before it, because it also exists as something that makes sense as not a joke, like, what I mean. And so that's definitely one that sticks
I'm gonna out. I need you to put these lyrics on Bandcamp just to help us out here, because these, like I said, these things are sneaky. They're sneaky to me because also I'm just not good at listening to hip hop. Like I've said this a million times on this podcast, but I'm bad at it. Like it's almost like, when you learn Spanish in school, right? But you need to sit there with that sentence for like 45 seconds before you can really comprehend and translate it. Like when I listen to rap, a lot of the times it's like going over my head to the point where I can only hear 3 words out of it. Like it's just too fast for me sometimes, so I need to sit down with these things and study. That is amazing. Let's jump into this first song here. Like I said, this is the 4th track on Relocating Grains of Sand, and it's The Taste of Vomit and Hike Keech providing all of the engineering and the production. This tune is called Learning. Check it out.
I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared. Not everybody knows how to do everything.
Please be patient with me. I'm still learning how to talk, still working to apply all the things that I've been taught. Please be patient with me. I'm still learning, it's not my fault. Still wanting to be open and upfront with all my flaws. Please be patient with me. I'm still learning how to walk, so when I do, it's clear I walk the walk. Please be patient with me. I'm still learning how to talk, but I'm trying every day to live the life I always saw. Yeah, Lord knows I've been trying, but there's some days all I can do is surviving. It wasn't always safe to be open, and even if I wanted to be, I'd start choking. I used to smoke out and a chance to feel, drown my spirits in spirits, then pop another pill. I often confuse sex for connection, but it's time to usher in the new. These are my confessions. I really like the person that you bring out in me, both in my dark moments, but also when I'm winning. And I truly appreciate when you call me out, when I act in ways that wouldn't make me proud. I know that you're also still learning and trying. Maybe that's why this feels so inspiring. I spent decades trying to run away, so I guess it feels a little weird to want to stay. Be patient with me. I'm still learning how to talk, still working to apply all the things that I've been taught. Please be patient with me, I'm still learning, it's not my fault. Still wanting to be open and upfront with all my flaws. Please be patient with me, I'm still learning how to walk. So when I do, it's clear I walk the walk. Please be patient with me, I'm still learning how to talk, but I'm trying every day to live the life I always saw it. Yeah, sometimes I know it's frustrating when I hold things in until they start cascading. My anxious thoughts can be pretty loud, so when you remind me of my progress, I feel proud. And I also can see how me putting in the work allows you a safe space to process through your hurt. And I hope you find the strength to overcome your demons, cause we all a work in progress driving through the seasons. I remember feeling like therapy was a punishment. I refused to participate and just anticipate the little hand pointing on the next number. Pages off the calendar, let's get numb and number. I couldn't seem to just ignore all my problems, and I learned the hard way that it's no way to solve them. Now we in the dirt and I'm willing to get messy, achieving all my goals like we on a team with Messi. Be patient with me, I'm still learning how to talk, still working to apply all the things that I've been taught. Please be patient with me, I'm still learning, it's not my fault. Still wanting to be open and upfront with all my flaws. Please be patient with me, I'm still learning how to walk. So when I do, it's clear I walk the walk. Please be patient with me, I'm still learning how to talk, but I'm trying every day to live the life I always saw it.
All right, that tune was called Learning. Again, it's the fourth track, and you want to go to thetasteofvomit.bandcamp.com to get the new album. There is a ton of music on there. You've been very, very productive with constantly putting stuff out. I wanted to ask, because we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to dive a little bit deeper, because it's not too often that I get the opportunity to talk to, again, guys that are tapped into their consciousness a little bit, and they're kind of seeing a bigger picture with it all. They're not just out there, like we said, living for themselves. There's a lot of, I think, pressure on men to make something of themselves, and it tends to put us into we end up kind of sometimes forgetting about the community and just kind of focusing on what we have to do to be a man. So this is something I've kind of talked to my friend about a little bit, but I wanted to ask you, what do you feel like as a guy, as an artist, and, as a rapper doing what you're doing? What is your relationship with your ego? And what do you feel like as an artist and a man? What do you feel like the concept is of being a man? Because I feel like in the past 5 years, if you tell somebody to be a man, I feel like everybody has their own definition of what that means nowadays. And I think especially men that are artists, we're different already, Okay. So I'm curious to know if you have your kind of definition on being a man, and what your relationship is with your ego in that concept.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I feel very comfortable in my masculinity. I think I talk a lot about that on the record and stuff like that. I have some quote unquote traditional cliche masculine thing. I feel like I'm very much a provider and protector in a lot of my relationships, and but at the same time, cliche-ly, if that's a word,
Right.
I'm also tapped into my emotions in a way that is maybe not traditional masculine and stuff like that. But I don't know, I feel I'm just trying to be, I guess. I don't necessarily feel like I have to live up to some kind of thing. I did, for a very long time, and I just think that, through years of like therapy and just the things that I've gone through in my life, I just realized that none of that really matters. And I just want to be proud of myself and just constantly
Mm.
improving who I am. And it doesn't really matter because, like, it is sometimes I like roll my eyes because there is a lot of ego and masculinity. And sometimes, like, one time I was like helping my friend move, and somebody, I feel like for some reason, not all men, but I feel like a lot of men feel like this need to like know these like cliche thing. Like, I in my day job I do like carpentry and things like that, so
Oh
I
shit.
know a lot about that kind of stuff. But then somebody was trying to like show off and tell me, like say that, we were trying to move something in somebody's house, and I was like, you shouldn't cut that board. You're never going to be able to put it back in the same way. You should remove this one. And they're like, no, no, and I was just like, all right, man, whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just going to be messed up. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I do this every day. Like, I don't, but like some people feel that need. And I guess for me, it's just like, I don't feel that anymore. And
Mhm.
I haven't really in maybe like 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever years. I feel pretty comfortable in who I am. And that stuff's not important to me. It doesn't matter to me what people think in that way. And yeah, I don't know. As for far as ego, like I feel like I don't know, like I have not an ego, but like I feel confident in myself. Like I know that I'm good at these things and maybe I can improve in other things. Like, I do like, it is also like hip hop is very like ego driven. And I don't know, like I feel like I'm a good rapper and I know what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm a very good writer and I am very good with words and things and putting them together in interesting ways. And I feel confident in that. Like, I don't feel like I have to prove anything, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, I feel like a lot of people do things for other people. I feel like a lot of ego, especially in cliche masculine spaces, is like about impressing other people, and I don't feel like I need to do that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is also kind of also just maturity in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
yeah, yeah.
And I think maturity and masculinity, like, they kind of go hand in hand because I think a lot of guys get away with being immature because
Mm,
they rely on being a tough guy or something, and it's
mm.
and it's in those types of moments where it's like, oh, I don't need to listen to you, like that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
those
yeah.
moments where it's like where masculinity and maturity kind of butt heads a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, on that note, do you feel like in 2025 in maybe the artist space or whatever, like just kind of looking forward, is there something that you wish other men would start doing? Or if you feel like, I wish more men were kind of doing this or that.
Um, I don't know. That's a hard thing for me to answer because I feel like I naturally gravitate more towards spaces that are, more nurturing and things like that. And I feel like
Yeah,
there is a lot of masculine presence in my community that is like healthy and respects women and
nice.
doesn't feel this heavy ego. So like a lot of the people that I am surrounded with and work with, I don't feel that from them. So like that's kind of hard for me to answer. I do think that there is a larger thing to be spoken about that, but I think a lot of it comes from like, this like generational thing. Like, my father treated me like this, so I have to treat my son like this, and he treats his
Yeah.
son like this. And like, I'm really blessed that I didn't necessarily have that, and it wasn't really like that for me, in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ways. And there is like things, in my family and stuff, but like I don't know, like that wasn't a thing. It wasn't like I have to yell at my son, like, you know what I mean? And like
Okay,
that wasn't
yeah.
like a thing. So it's hard for me to answer that question because I either am removed from it or I choose to remove myself from it. So
Yeah.
like, I know it exists and things, but yeah, I guess just whatever, just, you know, yeah, listening to women is really important. I mean, which is crazy to say. Like, that seems like such a crazy thing. But also, yeah, like, I don't know, like, some things, yeah, just listen to other people, period, too. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know everything. You don't have to know everything. Don't feel this pressure to know everything. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like I'm taking this opportunity to kind of, because with the way how you represent yourself as an artist and what you put in your music, it feels like it's very proactive with mental health awareness, and also challenging stereotypes, and also challenging concepts that have been either in rap, or even just in general, even just here in Philly, because Philly is a tough town, y'all. So
yeah, for sure.
even though we have a gayborhood, it's still a tough town.
Yeah.
Even if you're in the gayborhood late at night, it's a tough town. So I just feel like, when in this day and age of 2025, we start to see these statistics coming out with the way men are like voting, with the way especially white men are voting. And also I have my bracelet here from, Out of the Darkness, the AFSP.org, and just like raising awareness for like suicide prevention and stuff like that. Statistically, white guys are killing themselves way more than any other kind of, stat. So I feel like it's starting to like, I feel like in certain spaces, even though obviously we're here to talk about your music, I feel like in certain spaces, it's also like, I think we got to start talking about us a little bit more, and what it means to be a man, and being comfortable with one another, and having uncomfortable conversations, and kind of lifting the veil on this type of shit. because because a lot of us are suffering in silence, and I wish more men would speak up a little bit more, and not feel like they need to suffer in silence. And it kind of brings us to this next song that I want to play, but before we play it, I want to ask, this song is this is the 6th song. It's called Anxious Minds. Okay. And this is hitting the nail right on the head here. And I just want to ask, like, how bad is it for you right now when it comes to anxiety and how you're dealing with it? Because the last time we spoke with the houseplant, and we were it was very introverted, introspective. We were in our house, all the time. And now we have The Endorsement. I was like, what is the name of the album? The Endorsement. And now we have this album. I feel like there's so much growth. Like, I can hear it in the record. How loose you are. You're poking fun at stuff, like the puns and all this stuff. So I just want to know, when it comes to Anxious Minds, the song we're about to hear, what is your relationship right now with your anxiety? If you can lift the veil on that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So for me, it's something that just is always going to exist, unfortunately. It's more of a like biochemical, like hereditary, thing. So
Sure, okay, yeah.
it's always something that's always going to exist, but I've gotten a lot better with dealing with it, I think, and in the second half of this song, so Height did a lot of the beats on this, and he sent me this kind of like guitar loop before we kind of made it into a different thing. But in the beginning, he sent me just that hard rock guitar part or whatever. And when he sent me that, I was like, this sounds like a panic attack to me. Like, this guitar sounds like a panic attack to me.
Oh, wow.
So So I started writing about the first half of that song is about what a panic attack feels like to me to experience. And then
Wow.
in the chorus and the second half of the song, it's about how I deal with it. You know what I mean? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot about like grounding exercises, like breathing
Yeah.
techniques. It's a lot about, different techniques that I've learned in therapy, just recentering yourself. So like when I have a panic attack, it's basically me thinking of all these other possibilities and futures and places and this brick is gonna fall down on me and my life is falling apart and I'm gonna die at any second and blah 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 blah. And doing these techniques that like I'm talking about in the song, naming 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's like bringing you back. All right, like I'm in this room, there's the soccer flag behind me, there's dirty laundry, whatever, and reminding yourself that you're safe, like you're not
Mm.
about to instantly die, because your body, at least for me, sometimes when the right chemicals are not being produced, I
Yeah.
don't I don't know the difference between just being nervous about something and thinking I'm instantly gonna die. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
worrying about like paying a bill sometimes feels like somebody having a gun in my mouth. My brain doesn't logically I know the difference, but sometimes my brain doesn't realize that. So
Yeah.
like by doing these things that I'm talking about in the second half of the song, I'm bringing myself back to where I really am and being like, hey, like, it's okay. You're here. Like, things might be kind of shitty, but like, you're in this place and you're safe and you're not about to be attacked or whatever. Like, you're sitting on a couch. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, my relationship with it is just, yeah, a lot about learning how to deal with it because it's going to happen. I have no control over that. It's just part of how my brain works, and it's just like any other, I don't know, it's like somebody with like diabetes or cancer, like you
Yeah.
can't control that. You can just, like with diabetes, you could just manage your blood sugar. I can just manage the way that my brain flows and remind myself that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in immediate danger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all of our other panic attackers out there, they understand. They know what it is. They're like, the panic attacks that I've had, it just felt like I was in the middle of a tornado, and like, honestly, like in terms of just feeling, like I'm like, there is a sensation in my body and I don't know why and I don't know where it's coming from. And then it took therapy to realize that my brain was thinking thoughts that I was not even conscious of. So it's actually like your brain is thinking so many thoughts right now that you're not even catching them. It's like have you guys ever seen those like wind tunnel machines where you step into like this telephone booth of it's really small and they just start blowing money, and it's like all the money you catch you can keep or whatever, but it's just like tons of money. It's like that's what kind of panic attacks are, except with thoughts, where thoughts are all over the place and you're only catching like a bunch of them, and then you're just like well, I just need to tap out. And your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination sometimes and what you're actually experiencing in reality, which is why meditation is so powerful, because you can flip that over. Instead of you can put yourself in a happy place, like in Happy Gilmore.
Wow, throwback. Wow.
But hey, tell me that wasn't the truth. Go to your happy place. Sure. It's all in the hips. Shout out Carl Weathers, RIP. Let's jump into this tune. This tune is called Anxious Minds. Check it out.
Feels like the world could fall apart at any minute, crushed by the weight of the thoughts stay spinning like displaced gravity. I wonder if you're mad at me, cause I find safety in the sounds of clattered teeth, racing my heartbeat, my ego is starving. The sound of the alarm is coming off unalarming. My brain is a liar, my brain is on fire, and I think it just fired every affirmation I hired. So what's the worst case scenario? My head is pounding like the drums out the stereo. Yeah, gotta tune out the side silence, cause overthinking is my base level mindset. And yeah, the days are just getting colder, with one eye glued to the space over my shoulder. When it feels like everything is out to get me, I need a moment to recalibrate my thinking. Breathe in, breathe out, let it out, let it out. Breathe deep, breathe slow, let it go, let it go. Breathe in, breathe out, let it out, let it out. Breathe deep, breathe slow, let it go, let it go. Breathe in, breathe out, let it out, let it out. Breathe deep, breathe slow, let it go, let it go. Breathe in, breathe out, let it out, let it out. Breathe deep, breathe slow, let it go, let it go. Anxiety is a master manipulator. Anxiety is a two-faced hater. Anxiety will have you believe in things that aren't real. Anxiety will try to break you as you heal. Anxiety will have you pushing away love. Anxiety will make you beat yourself up. But anxiety dwells in the future, so we can defeat it with our presence. Breathe. Where are you? And I don't mean that in the abstract. Where are you? Describe your environment. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Breathe. Let the grip of your chest loosen. Allow yourself to come back to your environment. Where are you? Breathe. Anxiety is strong, but you are stronger. Come back to where you are. Defeat anxiety with your presence. Just remember to breathe.
All right, I hope you're nice and relaxed after our come down from our panic attack. We went through all of our coping strategies there. And once again, the album is relocating grains of sands. And we have a nice pretty picture of a young lady at the beach to even further calm you down as you enjoy this record. There is so much like golden nugget type of stuff in this album. That's why, you know, even when I first listened to it, I kind of at one point I just kind of sat back and I was just like, this is good in a sneaky way. Not that I didn't expect it to be good, but again, like I said, a lot of times hip hop flies over my head. But this is one time where, like, even on the first listen, I was like, oh, I get it. Oh, I get that too. Oh, I get it. And it started to make me feel like, yes, I can finally have a conversation in Spanish. Thanks to Duolingo.
Shouts out the owl.
Yup. In fact, I'm getting notifications right now. They're coming for my soul. A big theme for well, maybe not a big theme, but definitely a theme, especially towards the end of this record, is just getting older. And and I love it because it's so true. I mean, we're not getting any younger. Now, and some of these lines that come out, dude, I'm trying to think, like, like just getting older. There was one where it was like, everywhere I go, I have to pee first or something. I was just oh my God, dude.
Anywhere I go, I have to go pee first. My knee hurts because sitting or standing too long is simply the worst.
Oh my God, dude. Being a teacher now, like, this is one of the crazy parts of being a teacher is like, there's no bathroom break, dude. Like, you're in a room with them and you got to get to lunchtime. You know what I mean? And I just remember the kids in Philly are going through the standardized tests now or whatever. And I was talking to this one teacher and he was just like, and we were actually waiting for the bathroom and he was just like, dude, I forgot to go to the bathroom before the test. And he was just like, the last 20 minutes I was tapping my foot, you know?
Yeah, man. It's not fun out here.
You gotta lock in, dude. There's no bathroom breaks when you're a teacher. It's so funny. And then there's also the other thing where it's like I have to repeat shit constantly.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you start telling the same stories over and over again. The amount of times my dad tells me the same story over and over again, is all that type of stuff. Now, all that being said, it's awesome. I want to know, what's the bright side of getting older? for you? We talk about these types of things like crashing and aching and all this stuff, but what do you feel like is the bright side of it all?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of that was like what I talked about in the song Handsome, and it's just about like feeling more comfortable with myself. Like I think like, going back to what we were talking about earlier, like I feel like in my 20s and stuff, like I felt like I had to like, not that I had to impress somebody, but I felt like I had to be something. I felt like I had these expectations or whatever. And getting older, just feeling more comfortable in yourself, and I don't have to be that thing that you expect of me. And whether it's society or family or relationships or friends or whatever, like, yeah, I feel a lot better in my own skin. And I also feel like, yeah, like I feel more confident in my looks. I feel more confident in like my relationships. I feel more confident in almost every aspect of my life. And I think what that has to do a lot about too is like, I don't know, like I was, like doing drugs and drinking a lot in my 20s and doing all these things, and like and like living up to expectations, and just like and just figuring it out on my own, and not knowing,
dude. Experimenting,
and just being like, because when you're living on your own at 18 or whatever, like you don't know how to do anything. Like I was like, I don't know how to be a person. Like I have no idea. Like I wasn't taught any of these life skills.
How much detergent do you put in?
Yo, I had that story because like it's so funny. I think like my second apartment, I had a dishwasher for the first time that I ever had. I was like maybe 20 years old. I've never had a dishwasher in my whole life, and then like I put the wrong kind of soap in it, I guess, and I like bubbles like 3 foot all over the whole kitchen.
God, that's so
funny, dude. The container had like a glass with a sparkle on it, so I was like, "Oh, this is like clean dish." I was like, I think, but apparently there's a difference between like what you use to wash it with your hands and what you put in the thing. But I was like, I don't know any of this stuff, But yeah, that's like just a silly example. But yeah, even just like learning taxes and money management and just whatever. Like I wasn't aware of any of these things, and I had to figure them out on my own. So yeah, just getting older is just, I don't know, like I don't have it all figured out, but I feel more comfortable in that. I feel way more comfortable in asking for help, which is a lot about, again, going back to the song Handsome, just feeling more comfortable asking for help, feeling more comfortable in all of these areas. Like, yeah, getting older has been really great for me. Yeah, there's things like, I think like, being in physical labor in my day job doesn't help some of the aches and whatever too. It's not just, being 30, it's not just being 36, it's also being manual labor since I was 15 or whatever. But like, besides all that, like I feel a lot better. I'm definitely healthier mentally, physically, whatever. Like I feel better in my rap stuff. Like I feel like I'm a better rapper, I'm a better writer, I'm a better brother, I'm a better partner, I'm a better friend. Like I feel so much better than I did when I was 20. Like I don't, you know what I mean? And just getting into my mid 30s, and a lot of people now joke that I'm getting into my late 30s because I passed the middle mark. But like I feel a lot better in my own skin, like in every way. Like I don't even know how to explain that.
Yeah, I think it has to do with like consciousness and awareness, and that's why I also was thinking about like asking you also about like the relationship with your ego, because it feels like when you're 20 you're just chasing everything is a chase, and it's because your ego is like running the show. Do I look good enough? Am I making enough money? And am I attracting enough? Am I attractive enough? And then now we're in that second lap where it's like, I don't need to be attractive to everybody. I don't need to attract. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, my ego is just like my roommate. It's just an annoying roommate in your consciousness. And then you can kind of like, I feel like you could start to use it almost and know how to like how to dance with it and honestly just learning who you are, because that's, you know, part about it is figuring out who we are as people. I think a lot of times too, like, we think that society is putting the pressure on us, but it's actually us putting the pressure on ourselves by way of like programming a little bit. It's like cerebral like stuff, but it's like once we become aware that it's us doing it, it's like then we can undo it, and then that's when like the fun begins, you know.
Yeah.
And now, and it's so funny because I had this, my younger brother is 18 years old, and like now he's making the college choice. You know, it's the end of the year. He's graduating high school. It's like, where are we going to college? And we were sitting in, and this is another like 30, like post 30 things that I bought a sauna tent, a sauna box, and put it in the basement of the house because I'm like, I need more, you know, things that are gonna, you know, de-stress me and all this stuff, and
clean out your pores.
Exactly, all that stuff. Shout out
For
to
sure.
Sauna Box. I got a link down there if you want to take a look at it. But anyway, so I set this up in the basement, and me and my brother are sitting in this, you know, we're sitting in the sauna, we're taking steams, and he's starting to realize, like, you know, how to take care of himself and all this stuff. And he kind of asked me, he was like, well, what do you think the purpose of life is? And
damn, that's heavy. Yeah,
because we were having that kind of, because saunas bring up that kinds of conversations, you know. It's like it's like they get heavy and philosophical and yeah, I think maybe one day I'll have a sauna podcast, but until then it was just, and I was kind of like, the answer that I kind of knew right away is like, I feel like the purpose of life is to have a purpose and figuring out what your purpose is. And for me and for us as artists, it's kind of like our purpose, I think, as humans, is figuring out how we're making shit better for other people. Not just for us, but for other people. And I think us as artists is making shit better for us that also can make things better for other people. Does that make sense? So
yeah, for sure.
So and it was kind of cool because it feels like I had a moment where I could tell something to myself, you know, like a long time ago. And I was wondering for you, this is my last question I have for you. What's one thing you could tell the 18-year-old version
18?
of David?
Wow.
Or maybe just 10 years ago, but I mean, yeah. What do you think? What could you tell 18-year-old David? You could probably hand them a book, right?
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know.
Would 18-year-old David even read it though?
No, yeah, I don't know. I still struggle with reading sometimes. Maybe if you had a Cliff Notes or a picture book.
Oh God, Cliff Notes, dude. Now every millennial just rolled their eyes. Cliff Notes, dude.
Oh, is that like an old thing? Does that not exist anymore?
No, dude, they have AI. They have like, you know, ask Google for everything. They don't have to go to Barnes and Noble and find the Spark Notes for fucking Hamlet like we had to do and just sit there, do your homework in fucking Barnes and Noble.
I think my first advice then would be not to invest in Cliff Notes, the company.
That shit is gone, dude.
Yeah, I think just like, I don't think I would give myself advice. I think I would just say, hey man, it's okay. Like, I think especially early on in my life, it was so turbulent and everything, like, I didn't know where money was coming. I didn't know if my housing situation was secure. I didn't know whatever, especially, you know, 18, 19, 20, like, everything was so chaotic and
survival mode. Yeah.
And I think just being like, hey man, like, trust, you know how to figure this out. Like, you'll be able to figure this out. you know, you have the skill sets and the intuition and, you know, the love in yourself and community. Yeah, and just be like, hey man, it's okay. Like, you know, I think that to me would be way more important than any kind of advice. Because also, when I was 18, 20, I'd be like, yeah, all right, fuck you, old man. You know what I mean? Like, I would not be, like, you know, I wouldn't even be listening to any of that. So I just think, yeah, reminding myself that it's going to be okay is so important. And yeah, I think that would be more my direction.
Amazing, David. Dude, thank you so much for coming on this show. This was such an awesome conversation. I really hope people got to the end of this. Another great movie, like, this just popped in my head, but another great movie that my dad made me watch was this movie called My Old Ass. If anybody's looking for movie recommendations, it's like this indie movie where this lady got the chance to communicate with the younger version of herself by way of like text message or whatever. It was a really interesting movie about this concept. My Old Ass. You can check that out. But David, everybody should be checking out Relocating Grains of Sand by The Taste of Vomit and Height Keech. Once again, it's thetasteofvomit.bandcamp.com. David, thank you so much for coming on the show once again. And this last tune is called Aging DIY Rapper featuring Miggs, Sonny, and Wade Wilson. Rip on, everybody. Stay creative. I love you.
Son, this is real life. What up, fellas? F that. Like something out of a comic book. Comet in the backyard of comic folk. Looking like an average Joe. Styling like a soccer coach. Bominos. I'ma be rocking live until I'm a ghost. Life is long, try to stop and smell the dominoes. Kinda old but kinda young. I don't know, I'm a brilliant idiot. Kinda wise but kinda dumb. Counter to the culture. The floor is lava, hopping from the counter to the sofa. Bow like you're supposed to. Power up, I'm ultra. Posterize opponents trying to post up. I wish you motherfucker would. Bolsa. Pardon me, I'ma need a nap after rap time. Crashing from the aftermath of acid tabs and fat lines. Tired of being so cool, sick of being popular. I just wanna lay down, joints be locking up. All types of aches be popping up. Wifey got me doing yoga. My favorite pose is Shavasana.
Hi, yes, I'm an aging DIY rapper. No room for the 20-somethings that can't shut they flat. But I can't do this better than you do this. But they already knew this. I hate when people ask, do you still do the music thing? I answer unamusingly, yes, I still do the music thing. But aren't you getting kinda old to rap? No, now can you please kindly shut your trap? This music is a part of me, I exclaim wholeheartedly. But it's a little weird how the bands have stopped carding me. I look out to a crowd of kids I could've fathered. That's a struggle to decide if that leaves me truly bothered. But yo, I don't care, I feel it's in my soul. Writing helps all my broken pieces feel whole. I'm not embarrassed to say I would still be on stage with a walker or a cane, here to rock the mic like Big Daddy Kane.
I'm getting older, but I'm timeless. Need the cash quota, but I'm priceless. Barely know, still one of the nicest. Am I a dreamer getting bolder or imagination spineless? Won't put my ideas on back burner. I find ways to grind it down the flaxseed. Could it be the kid that made his cut please? Age just mean I paid dues and fees. Laid down with doors and never got fleas. Just raw skills, refining the line, elevate the mind. I'm no longer blind, just now living long enough to sit back and remind. I'm getting older shit, I'm in my prime.